I think projects like this start with this crazy layer of optimism. It almost becomes less about the sound of the guitar in the end and more about just how much is actually possible. And those little moments when you'll call your friends and get to tell them how it all actually went down.
I know I've been talking about this for over a month, but I actually did it. It's actually done. I haven't even taken the time to plug it in yet, but I'm my excitement level is about at 9, which for me is maybe what a 12 is for other people. I don't know. It just feels kind of weird sitting here and actually looking at this for the first time.
So, in case you're wondering, like most of the best stories you'll get in your life, this all started with a sort of idea.
Here's the truth. As guitar players, we all think about gear all the time. That Strat we don't have, that Les Paul we don't have, that 335 that we don't have. But sometimes I think we think even more about the gear that we do have and those little intangibles that make them the things that we decided to buy and the things that we love. The strings, the pickups, the tone woods, whatever it is that made you fall in love with that guitar. But one of the things I've been thinking about more and more recently is actually the pickups. And I was sitting here the other day, I was just sitting here thinking, because I've done this experiment so many times recently, how much do these so-called pickups actually matter? And not in just a small sense, because I put professional pickups into a Player Series Strat, which I think is already a great guitar. But what would happen if I put actual professional pickups into the cheapest guitar that I could find? Because I happen to have some of those professional pickups. So what I decided to do the other night in just a haze of curiosity, I was like, instead of putting these pickups in a relatively expensive guitar, what if I found the cheapest possible guitar that these pickups could actually go to? And see, not just if pickups make a difference, but how much those pickups would actually make a difference when the pickups cost more than the guitar. So first of all, I had to look on Amazon to see what they even had.
Now, going into this, I thought it would be a breeze. It would be super easy. I'm just looking for the cheapest guitar, right? But once you factor in the fact that I was looking for the cheapest guitar with P90s, that's where it got a little bit more difficult.
And for the life of me, I'm being completely honest, I could not find a cheap guitar until I stumbled on one. They're apparently called Grote guitars. I've literally never heard of them. I've never played one, but they were the cheapest guitar I could find on Amazon with P90s in them. It was $150, which means not only are the pickups going to cost more than the guitar, the pickups are going to cost almost double what the guitar does. Weirdly enough, right now my spider senses are kind of tingling, and I think there might be a package at the door. Look who was right. It's here. So here's the deal. I, like most people, have played a lot of relatively beginner guitars in my life. You know, Epiphone Squires, but even those right now run for like $200–300. So an off-brand $150 guitar, I'm genuinely curious to see what we're gonna get here. Look at that. They even gave us a cable. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Grote. It actually doesn't look bad. It's got that whole tobacco sunburst vibe. It's the only thing I've ever owned with two P90s. Not very in tune, but we can fix that. So I have it plugged into the Dream 65. It's not super noisy for a P90. So I'm listening back and I keep thinking, I've heard much worse sounding tones in my life, but that's not necessarily why we're here, right? It's not about how good or bad it sounds, it's about how different it's gonna sound. So it's time to swap these bad boys out. And for that, we're gonna have to phone a friend.
Hello, we got something in this PRS case today.
Yeah.
Something.
Show them.
I think that one of the greatest joys that we get in this life is finding friends who have talents that we don't necessarily have. And while my friend Sean happens to be one of the best guitar players that I've ever met, he also happens to be an incredible guitar tech. And I knew that it would be foolish of me to not ask for his help in a project like this. Now, first thing, of course, I had to actually show him what we were working with.
What is it?
Yeah. Oh, it's like a single cut LP style. Grote?
Yeah, Grote?
Grote?
I don't know.
Is it Grote maybe? I don't know. I've definitely seen the brand before.
It does not at all sound that bad.
That's awesome. Well, it's going to sound better with these new the pickups that are worth twice as much as the guitar. Before we do this, I'm going to go underneath here and just kind of look at what we have.
It's not a bad looking guitar.
Yeah.
And I think for like a starter, I think it could be perfect for somebody.
Definitely for somebody who's like looking into getting a Les Paul. Is that here in town?
Yeah.
So things like probably already set up too, right? I mean, we could still take a look at it and
Yeah.
kind of see if it needs anything.
So essentially, this started out like any other mod. I was just there to keep my friend company while we did the simple stuff, taking out the strings and figuring out big picture what we wanted this project to look like.
So, do you understand earlier, like the Soap Bar P90s, like this is how like these ones fit, which like the humbucker is a little bit wider and like these ones are longer, and P94s are all the same. This is how they fit.
Yeah.
The soap bars, they're all wound the same. I don't know exactly how they're wound. I know it's like a single magnet, just like a single coil. That's what they are. They're single coil pickup.
Once we had finished taking off the strings and just generally admiring the inside of the guitar,
These springs are ridiculous. What's that?
Looney Tunes spring.
Yeah, we're gonna use the Looney Tunes springs. That's right.
It does though.
we knew it was time to start doing some of the more serious stuff, like soldering, stuff that I really know absolutely nothing about. So I knew in this moment it was really my job to just keep my friend company with some very relevant conversation.
I genuinely believe that the Krusty Krab pizza is like one of the best episodes of television that I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
The pizza, you and me. Yeah, they lose the car. They're stranded in the middle of nowhere, and you get the temptation to eat the pizza.
Oh yeah. He's like, no, we can't eat the pizza. That's for the customer.
But I knew eventually we were probably gonna have to get serious again.
Basically, to connect them all together, like everything's wired the way it needs to be wired. But next, what we're gonna do is making sure that everything can get to where it needs to go. Gotta keep on digging at it. Something's wrong. Let's just find out what's wrong.
As happens with some of these projects, we realized because of a slight hiccup that we weren't going to be able to get everything done in one session.
Houston, we may have a slight issue. I hear something.
As with any problem, to fix this, we decided time would heal all wounds, so we decided to go home, get some sleep, and reconvene a couple days later to finish the job.
It's all in there.
Is it? Oh my gosh. You killed it, homie.
All in there. New strings. New strings and all.
What kind of strings did you put on there?
Heavy bottoms.
Oh, it's got the push-pull?
I'm finding out so like both of the push pulls do something for each pickup as well.
Oh, really?
I haven't really read the manual to see like what the technical terms are for everything. The middle position, everything's down. And they're active pickups too, so they're like really heavy, really loud. I'm gonna turn it down just kind of like that. There it is, homie.
Can I see this?
Yeah.
You mind if I...
Yeah, here, I'll, $150 guitar, what, $300 pickups in here?
Yep.
Yeah. Pickups sound great. Pickups make this guitar sound a lot better. The playability of it is a little like $150, I'd say.
Yeah.
It sounds great now. But just like the wood choice, something I noticed is when I was putting in the pots over here, I had to widen out the holes a little bit. So I used this gouge right here. You're finding a guitar for the first time. This is a pretty good guitar. It's better than I think we were talking about last week. Just it's got good pickups in it now. I will say something else to the routing. Also, you can kind of see the route, even with the older pickups in there too. There's just space right here. Whereas like with more expensive guitars, the routing's a little bit more accurate. But yeah, it's a great place to start when you got good pickups in it.
Dude, thank you so much again.
So we finished the job. The new pickups were in there and everything was tested. But I knew none of that would actually matter until I could bring this thing home and in real time compare it with the sound of the old pickups.
All the settings on the Dream are exactly the same. It looks good, it feels good, and I think it's ready to go. I knew they were going to be active pickups, but with P90s, I didn't expect them to be essentially noiseless. I remember beforehand being so surprised about how even though these were P90s, they were essentially noiseless. I knew that putting in the new pickups, even though they were active, I was skeptical because they're more expensive. They might be going for like a vintage feel. They're essentially still noiseless. I cranked the gain as much as I wanted to. No hum at all.
You can never really predict how these things are going to go. You start out thinking you're just doing a fun experiment, and you end up realizing how the smallest changes can make giant differences in a guitar as a whole. Something as simple as new strings, or a setup by a friend, or even some new pickups. The possibilities essentially become, well, endless.
So that was the project, and this is the guitar. I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, so it was really cool to finally be able to get a little bit more creative with what I put pickups in and with what I asked my friends to actually help me with. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've been trying more to do more cinematic stuff, and I'll have a whole video covering that later. If you want to know anything more about the Greg Koch pickups from Fishman, I got them from the homies at Sweetwater. The links are in the description. It's one of the best ways to support the channel if that's something you want to do, or if you're just curious about any of the other gear that we use. Make sure to check out those links. Like and subscribe if you had a good time. Most importantly, most important of all, have a fantastic day.